I'm Colleen Topping. I'm a sophomore in the department, so it's my first year in painting and printmaking and my second year at VCU Arts.
So my name is LaRissa Rogers. I graduated from VCU Arts in 2019. I graduated with a BFA in painting and printmaking, and then also a BIS in interdisciplinary studies. I'm currently in grad school at UCLA.
Can you tell me a little about like when you first applied and when you first got into VCU Arts, like what your expectations were and what sort of led you to choosing your major?
I think that my story is a little unique because in high school, I had a teacher. Well, he was kind of like a mentor, and he was my basketball coach. He was familiar with the school, kind of like with the arts program and how well it was doing. And in high school, well, actually always like growing up, I loved art, but I didn't really think that like that's what I wanted to do. So it wasn't until my senior year when my professor was like, you have to apply to at least one art school. And on a whim, I kind of applied to VCU Arts and I got in. And I didn't understand the magnitude of it at the time. I started painting, I think, sophomore year maybe of high school, and I started dabbling with oils, and then I decided like that's what I wanted to do. I really love painting. And I think making my decision to come here was kind of just like me figuring out what I wanted to do like with my life. Which sounds a little cliche, but that's kind of what it was, because I was like, what else would I go into? I was like, I would go in undeclared, and then would I become a lawyer? I was like, I don't know. Would I be a scientist? I hate science. I don't know. So this seemed like the right move for me. And then the first year you go through AFO, and I think that was just like a really learning period for me, because I had never really been introduced to any of the other mediums other than painting. And that was really eye-opening. And also just being in the environment, growing up in Charlottesville and going to a private school all my life, it was definitely kind of like a switch, especially for me, because I was within a predominantly white middle upper class institution. And so just my body being in that space was a disruption. So moving to Richmond and kind of being introduced to all of the different people, the different like ideologies, it was really just kind of like it was a learning period for me where I just started to come into myself. And I think that was kind of one of the reasons that I decided to come to VCU, because of that possibility. That's why I decided to go into the painting department, which is kind of funny because after, like, you're a sophomore now, after my sophomore year, I never painted again in the painting department. And so that's why I say it's so funny now. And I think that that was what really allowed me to like expand my breadth as an artist, was because I was so, I think, set on this idea that paint has to be on canvas. I was never like technically trained in oil paint, so I kind of like taught myself everything. So it's kind of interesting that I had that like ideal of like that's what this painting had to be. But even in my painting was like kind of unconventional. My sophomore, junior year, I studied abroad, and I also took a experimental drawing class with a grad student. And I think that was one of my best experiences within the department, was interacting with the grad students. Even before I started like grooming relationships with them, just having them as professors, I think was instrumental.
It's so funny, like the way I hear everyone describe coming, or like, you know, why they came to VCU Arts and like how they ended up in the painting department, the few people that I've talked to, because I feel like I sort of had an opposite starting off experience. I knew I wanted to go to art school. I knew that I wanted to paint and to draw and to try lots of different things, but I was sort of set on like, this is where I want to go. And it makes the most sense to me in my head because like nothing else really interested me. And it was more just I knew I wanted to go to art school, but it was the program that surprised me, because I was like, I didn't know I was going to find myself here at VCU Arts. I'm from New Jersey, so I'm not really close to here. There's so many good options closer to home for me. So coming here was a really sort of not in my plan, but since I found myself here, the way you describe like going into the painting department and then never painting again after a certain amount of time, like I really enjoy now, even though I'm so early in my sort of path through painting, I know that I can sort of do whatever I want with under that like visor of painting and printmaking. Like that really encouraged me to join, just like talking to people and knowing that like, oh, I became a painting and printmaking major and now I really do video work, and that's sort of like solely where they fall, or they can incorporate their painting practice into like sort of any medium that they want, or that, you know, even after their undergrad, like they take that experience, if you were painting like your entire time at VCU Arts, and just sort of like mold that into whatever thing you wanted. So I've found that really encouraging looking forward. Everyone always talks about like, even if you were dead set or you had no idea that you were going to find yourself a painting major, you sort of, everyone has like the same, like, you think you're going one way and then it can sort of just completely take off in another direction that's like way better for you that you never expected, which is cool.